So I've taken what I think of as the foundational tissues, the ones that I originally pulled from my stash that establish color scheme, maybe some value ranges and things like that. And they have the elements in them that I really enjoy, like the circles that aren't quite circles, the circles that are circles, a cutout circle, the repeated shapes that are increasingly vague. Yeah, I'm kind of liking this combination. And what I've been doing for quite a while now, and I usually let it sit at least overnight before I make any firm decisions on something, is I've been pushing around papers. So do I like it filling that side in the corner? Do I prefer it just kind of hanging off the edge? Sometimes when other things are in the way, it's a little hard to visualize that. Do I want it there? Do I want it there? What about this floating circle? Which way up could it go? Maybe suggest a path from the blue into the blue into the blue, or and of course right now I've still got all these clunky extra bits of tissue that kind of are more opaque than they are going to become. These are going to become very transparent. And some of them I'll actually trim out a little closer to the actual lines so I don't get too much tissue on here. So when I'm doing this and kind of coming up with something that maybe I like a bit, and I'm kind of looking for where lines line up. So for example, this lower wonky edge comes into this piece here, and that's this little vague bit here that's in addition to this that kind of matches. So kind of suggesting that there's some method to the madness while not allowing it to get in the way too much. When I get a pattern that I think could work, I'm not sure, one of the things I'll do is I'll leave it overnight or until later in the day. Come back in, look at it with fresh eyes and go, or, oh yes, I like that. And the other thing that I will do is I'll take a photo of it on my phone and transfer it to my main computer and then pull it up on the bigger screen and look at it. And again, just that seems to allow me to look at it with fresh eyes. So that can work out really well too. And again, my initial reaction will either be a oh yes or a eh, and that will determine whether or not I'll sort of go ahead with that particular design. This one's passed both those tests, and other than pushing that poor circle around, which I'll glue down last. Other than that, I'm pretty happy with the way this is set up, and I think it's going to provide me with a fair bit of really interesting background. There's some lovely echoes here of lines that I'll try to get relatively straight so they're not looking like I'm a drunken sailor or something. So yeah, there's a lot of things here that I think will give me lots of potential in the final work. So I'm going to go ahead and trim these and glue them down. Of course, by the time I do that, I may have changed my mind, but that's fine too. Okay, so I've got my foundation tissues all glued down, plus a couple of extras. And for those of you who might be interested, and this is really a personal decision, what I glue these tissues down with is matte medium. Now, if I was gluing down something thicker, more substantial, I would use a gel. But for this tissue stuff, the matte medium works great. And I'm not too careful about the whole wrinkle thing. I don't really care. I kind of like the feel of a little bit of wrinkle or texture to it. Not a lot, but just a little. And I also like to have the process visible in the final work. So I don't want it to be a mystery. I want people to come up, look at it, touch it if they own it, and be able to tell that there's paper on here. So that's a good start. I did find two additional, I figured out where to put the circle. And I also found another little piece of very thin tissue that was a remnant of a remnant, and I've decided to put that in that empty circle there. So at this point in time, I'm evaluating composition and seeing how good a job I've done. And one of the things that I like to do is rotate the canvas. How does it look? You know, from this direction, is it balanced? I do kind of like this bigger, heavier piece at the bottom somewhere, but I think that it could totally work at the top with the right kind of painting and other collage elements that's going to be coming into it. I think it's still balanced this way. The top, the other side, again, not my favorite, but definitely still works. And I think I'm going to probably end up down the road with either this or this. And this is the way I originally laid it out. And I might stick with that. I'll just have to see.